The Samsung Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus have been out for a little while now, and we've been putting the camera through its paces to see how good it is for video. And you can find out how it went in this video. Hey, it's Justin Brown here from Primal Video. We release a ton of content to help you get better results with video faster. If you're new here, then make sure you click that big subscribe button, and all the links to everything we mentioned in this video, you can find linked in the description below. So let's jump into it. So Samsung recently sent us out the Galaxy S8 Plus, and we've been playing around with it for the last 3 or 4 weeks now. And I've got to tell you, it's definitely an amazing phone. But there's already plenty of reviews out there telling you how nice the phone is with its fancy screen and all the features. But what we're looking at specifically in this video is how it performs for video. So after putting the video camera to the test, here are the results and my thoughts on the camera overall. Make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to cover off my recommended settings for shooting video using the S8. So we'll start off with the specifications on the two cameras. The back camera, or the primary camera, is a 12 megapixel camera with an f1.7 aperture lens. It comes with optical image stabilization, and it will record 4K video at 30 frames per second, 1080p video at 30 or 60 frames per second, and 720p video at 30 frames per second. It also supports slow motion, 240 frames per second at 720p. The front-facing camera is an 8 megapixel camera with an f1.7 aperture lens. And the big point of difference here between this front-facing camera and most of the other ones around today is that this one has autofocus built in. It also supports video recording at up to 1440p. The first thing we did was to go into the settings and to max out our quality settings so that we're recording at the highest quality, so 4K for the rear camera and 1440p for the front camera. Now, the built-in camera app on the S8 and the S8 Plus is really intuitive and really easy to use. To zoom in and out, all you need to do is to press and hold on the shutter button, or the button to take a photo, and swipe to the left or to the right to zoom in and out. To record video, you just press the record button, or to take a still, you just press the shutter button. You can easily switch between the front-facing camera and the rear camera just by swiping up on the screen. Swiping from the left will bring up the different shooting modes. So if you're on the front-facing camera, then you've got selfie, wide selfie, selective focus, or virtual shot. And if you're on the primary camera, you'll get pro, panorama, selective focus, slow motion, hyperlapse, food, and virtual shot. Now I've got to tell you the two standouts here for me are pro and hyperlapse. These are two features that are really, really amazing and work really well. So what the pro mode essentially lets you do is to lock down using professional settings, things like your ISO, your shutter speed, your white balance, lock them down with the built-in camera app. Normally this is something that you need to go to an app like Filmic Pro or Movie Pro, ProShot, one of these other third-party applications to be able to get that control. So it's really awesome to have that built in to the stock camera app. And hyperlapse is another really amazing feature on the phone. So a hyperlapse is essentially a moving time lapse. So you're recording a heap of footage and it plays it back really, really fast to speed it up. But in regards to the hyperlapse feature here, it's also stabilizing the footage to make it really smooth, make it look like the camera is gliding around. So it's really amazing, and I was surprised by how well it actually works. When you start to look at the recorded video files, you'll probably notice straight away that the colors are really vibrant or heavily saturated. The blues are really blue, the greens are really green. There's a lot of color going on here. Now, some people aren't a big fan of having heavily saturated videos. Other people love it. So it really is a personal preference. I personally don't mind it. I think that there's definitely a place for it, and it does make really run and gun shooting or quick videos. You don't then have to add filters or adjust the colors. The colors coming out of this thing are absolutely amazing. But some people don't like it. Some people would much rather have a flatter image and grade it later in their editing, in which case this is something that you can't actually turn off with the built-in camera app. There are other third-party camera applications you can get that will give you control over the color profiles. So you could have a flatter color profile for when you're creating your videos if you'd like. But personally, I think that this built-in app is miles above most other built-in camera apps, especially the built-in one on the Google phones. The autofocus on this camera is insanely good. It's so quick and so sharp, and not once in our testing did it miss the mark and focus on something different. It was spot on every time. The optical image stabilization works well, and it's a nice addition to have in the phone if you're going to be walking around, just to help take that bump out or any shake out of your camera movements. It's definitely not 100% flawless. If you move the camera too much, then you'll see some jittering or jarring in the shot while it tries to correct it. But overall, I was pretty impressed. Now, the low light capabilities of this camera are definitely a standout. So we did a test here that you can see. This is in a bedroom in late afternoon, lights are off. It was actually really dark, but you couldn't tell from looking at this video. Now, while we were recording the test footage for this video, we were also testing and comparing this phone to the iPhone 7 Plus and the Google Pixel XL. And we will have a video, a three-way comparison coming out very shortly, so I'll put a link up to the cards when that's available to check out as well. But I gotta tell you, the low light performance on the Samsung Galaxy S8 was so much better than the other two. I wasn't going to mention it in this video, but I think that the low light performance on this camera is definitely a standout feature. Kicking the camera over into slow motion mode, which is where you're dropping the resolution to 720p, but you'll be shooting at 240 frames. When we actually looked at the footage that came off, we were really blown away with how crisp and clean the footage is. Obviously, the footage here has been upscaled for this 4K video, so it's not actually a true representation of the quality, but we were blown away with the quality of the 720p recording. When we were checking out the 240 frames per second slow motion footage, we brought it into the computer and we were looking at the footage, and it actually shows up as 260 frames per second footage, not 240. I can't explain it. We checked it with a few different programs and it all says 260 frames per second instead of 240. Not sure what's going on there. Either way, it looks really good, and an extra 20 frames per second can't hurt. What you don't have on this phone though is a 1080p slow motion mode. You can shoot at 1080p 60 frames per second, but you can't shoot 1080p 120 frames per second like you can on phones like the iPhone 7 Plus and the Google Pixel XL. And another really cool feature about this camera slash phone, this is really a phone feature, but it comes into play with the camera as well, is that the phone is waterproof or water resistant. So you can get it to a depth of 1.5 meters for a length of 30 minutes. So that's pretty cool, depending on the types of videos, or if you're going to be filming and potentially it's going to rain, then you don't need to be so worried about your camera. So now looking at the front-facing camera, color-wise, once again, typical of Samsung devices, it has vibrant colors. So the blues are really blue, the greens are really green, all the colors really pop out from the shot. Now in regards to the autofocus, once again, it worked really well and really fast. So definitely impressed with the autofocus, and it's actually really handy having autofocus on your front-facing camera. Now the only other thing that we noticed, it was way too much detail. Almost that your footage didn't look that good because there was too much detail in the shot. So in our editing, I'd actually want to tone that down a little bit and remove some of that detail, soften the image a little bit because it was too much. It actually looked unnatural. So it's definitely not a deal breaker, but I definitely thought there was too much detail on the Samsung Galaxy S8 front-facing camera. So how is the S8 video camera overall? Here are my final thoughts before we run through the camera settings that I'd recommend if you are using the S8 for video. Well, I really like the low light performance. I really like the autofocus. I think it's amazing. I think the Pro mode, where you've got the ability to lock down your shutter, your ISO, your white balance directly from the built-in camera app, is amazing. I really like the Hyperlapse feature. I think that is something that should be included in all phones now. I didn't think that I would actually use it, and I've been using it for Instagram stories and things like that, and it's really, really cool. And it's so easy to use. I also really like the front-facing camera and the fact that it's got autofocus and the fact that it's recording at 1440p. I think it is now a solid solution for people creating content videos themselves to be able to use the front-facing camera without trying to have to use the rear-facing camera on the phone, which if you're going to be filming by yourself can be rather difficult. And I also like that the phone has the option to add expansion or memory cards, so that if you are running out of storage on your phone, that you can put in a micro SD card and you can expand that storage out. Now we did chew through the 64 gig, which is the phone that we've got, pretty quickly. So I would recommend, if you are going to be shooting a heap of video on your phone, that you get maybe a 128 or a 256 gig micro SD card to include in your phone. So what don't I like about it? Well, I guess the biggest pet peeve that I have with this phone is the location of the fingerprint scanner. So it's not specifically a problem with the camera, it's a problem with the fingerprint scanner, because when you use it, you inherently touch the camera lens. No matter how hard you try or how many times you do it, you're still going to end up with fingerprints, smudges, whatever on your camera lens, which isn't ideal. So you've really got to build that habit then, if you're going to be using the fingerprint scanner, to get used to every time you pull your phone out to take a video or take a photo, you want to clean the camera lens first, which is a good habit to have anyway, but it would be ideal if the fingerprint scanner was nowhere near the camera lens, in my opinion. And the second thing is, when you're using the front-facing camera, the amount of detail that's in the shot. I think there is too much detail in the shot, so much so that the footage can look fake or just doesn't look right. There is too much detail, all the wrinkles and everything. Yes, I'm getting old, but everything is shown. Whereas if I'm using the Panasonic GH4 and sitting the same distance apart, you don't see any of that like you do on the Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. So it is something that you can soften the footage down in your editing afterwards. Or if you really want to, I suppose you could apply some of their filters, the beauty mode or something like that, which I'd probably advise against, but it's not a deal breaker. It's just something that I don't necessarily like too much. Now, in regards to the recommended camera settings, something that everybody should be doing is, wherever possible, not using the auto mode. At least tap and hold on your screen and lock down the exposure, so the brightness, and the focus, so that you're setting what's in focus and you're setting how bright or dark your shot is, and not leaving it up to your phone to decide and potentially change throughout your shot. Now, if you are going to be shooting on a Samsung Galaxy S8 or an S8 Plus, then I'd highly recommend you use the Pro mode and really lock down all of your settings. Lock down your white balance, lock down your ISO, your shutter speed, to really get the best results out of your camera. If you're not on a Samsung Galaxy S8, you should probably consider it. Or you could check out an app like Filmic Pro that will give you a heap of those settings as well, so that you can still lock everything down. And if you're looking to get even better results with your smartphone, then make sure you check out our complete guide to filming amazing videos with Android and iPhone, which is linked on screen now. I'll see you soon.